Hello and welcome back to the Franchise Millionaire Show. I'm your host, Andrea Bailey Brown, and I am excited to be back with you for another episode. I know if I've been sounding a little stuffy today, it's purely because I have been traveling, I've been speaking, I've been really busy spreading this word of franchise ownership. And in return, this is what happens. But I'm not going to let that stop us from another episode. So I was actually speaking at the National Franchise Show in Edmonton, Alberta. And one of the topics I spoke about, which had a lot of rave reviews, was called Seven Things Aspiring Franchise Owners Must Know. And in that session, once I was done, I literally had a lineup of people wanting to connect, people wanting to find out more, and just wanted to book appointments to speak with us. But I just felt it was so powerful that these are the things that I've been really thinking about as I consult with my clients, as I get new people starting their businesses. As I've been a franchise owner for 16 years now, and I wanted to compile a few things that I thought, you know what? These are some of the things that I really think people should know, but they don't really consider. And in that case, I just really wanted to bring it to you. In our session, we more than likely had about 50 people, 60 people that showed up. And that was just because it was the capacity and that was standing room only as well for some people. But I thought, why not share it on this podcast as to what were some of the tips that were dropped that would be of interest to you as well. So let's get it started. The first one that we spoke about is that number one is franchise ownership is definitely possible for you as well. And this is where the belief system comes in, where I find sometimes I talk to people, but they're really missing this piece of the process. It's a belief that they don't see themselves as franchise owners. And sometimes I think that comes from the fact that when you're looking around and you see these mega $1 million franchise brands, you then assume, well, okay, that will never be for me. So I really want you to understand that that ownership is also possible. You can change your life too. And when I look around my franchise network, I am not. I'm seeing people that a few look like me, but there are many people that are coming from various backgrounds, whether it's banking, whether it's accounting, whether it's mechanic. It's just all very possible for you. And when I say it's possible, I'm talking about the fact that you can change your life, you can control your schedule, you can definitely become your own boss, and you can live the life that you have imagined for yourself at some point. So it's really important that you are surrounding yourself and you are around other entrepreneurs and find yourself in networks and places where you can see yourself and you can see the possibility. So one of the questions that I often ask while I'm doing my presentation is, which of the following backgrounds do you think would produce successful franchise owners? So corporate employees, tradesmen, stay-at-home moms, or entrepreneurs. And the actual truth is they all do. All of these different backgrounds and industry will become successful franchise owners. And that's also another myth where people believe that it is only a certain type of people or certain groups can actually become franchise and business owners. So the next one is number two is that you are never alone. In the franchising world, you actually have what's called support, and it's the power of the franchise, the franchise network. And in this network, You will continuously get the support, advice, and resources are available for you when you actually need them. So you're not starting out a business all by yourself. And when we talk about support, we're talking about ongoing training, mentorship, a supportive network, problem solving, and also growth opportunity and consistency. The mentorship that you get from other people who are already in the business, who have done it before, who may have had certain similar challenges that you have. So that's really the biggest part that I've seen in the franchising world, and in saying that you are not alone. And that is really, really important, because entrepreneurship can sometimes be lonely. You need someone to talk to when you're trying to make major decisions. And in the franchising world, I find the support is really massive, and you will also be able to get the help when you need it. So, your network is your net worth, and that is so true. Building some strong relationships with franchise community is extremely important to your growth. You need to really get a network around you, and that's how you grow, right? You just cannot do it by yourself, because your brain has gotten you so far in the process, and it's really important for you to expand that network. All right, the next thing is the biggest myth that I sometimes see people have is they believe that once they sign the franchise agreement and the franchise disclosure document, that they are going to be alone, and that is not true. Because the franchisors offer continuous support and resources that you can have. So let's talk about number three. What you need to know if you're an aspiring franchise owner and you're out there thinking about it, you need to understand that there's less risk with franchising. So notice the word less. I'm not saying there is zero risk at all. It's just that there is less risk involved in terms of franchising. And why is that? And the reason is there are many low cost, low risk franchises available as well. And the biggest reason is that franchising lowers your risk because of proven business model and established brands. When the model has already been tried, tested, and true, sometimes 100 times, 500 times, 1,000 locations, that's basically what minimizes and reduces the risk that is involved. So I know many of us we don't want to lose money. Like, that's not a fun thing. Like, if you hear people, I've lost this amount, but I mean, it's the price that you pay to learn. But in this case, when we're putting out maybe 50, 100,000, $500,000, $1 million, we want to minimize and reduce that risk. And what we found is that the success rate for franchising is very high. The data around it is really, really clear that, like, after, say, 5 years of opening, 95% of franchise brands continue to thrive and survive, compared with independent businesses where only a few of those independent businesses will actually last. All right, so another thing is that when we talk about low risk franchises, that's what reduces the fear, right, of losing. If you're not putting out 1 million and you're putting out, like, 100,000 or maybe 120, you're going to feel less anxiety compared to putting out $1 million in a company. And at our agency, we do have some of those low risk franchises available as well. The next one is that when we talk about what aspiring franchise owners should know, you need to know that the banks actually love franchises. And so you can love them too. What do we mean about banks loving franchises? The banks don't like to take risk. And I used to think, like, back in the day, I had a dream, like, I was going to work at the bank because I was going to make so much money, because the bank have all of this money available, and that was going to be my path. Well, yes, I was much younger when I had that idea and had that dream of of working at a bank. I will not be doing that. But the banks love franchises because of the historical data that is available and is shown that franchises have a higher chance of success rate other compared to startups. So that's one of the reason why the banks love franchises. And what also happens is that inside of the banks, they actually have departments for different brands or certain lenders for some of the brands that are there. So you can actually go to the bank and it's like they already have a portion set up for like McDonald's financing. And what I mean by that, someone that has already worked on it, or Wendy's, or Jiffy Lube, or some of these brands. So that's one of the reasons why the bank actually have created a section. Some of the banks also have a franchising section because they've seen the brands over and over. They know their success rate, and they also have a ranking system for them. So when I say the banks love franchising, it is purely because they have seen the brands come over and over, and they know which ones are successful, which ones aren't, and they're a little bit quicker to work with the with franchise businesses. All right. So when you're talking about financing, make sure that you know the terminologies, right? When you're going to be working with the banks, and you need to know what the franchise fee costs are, royalties, and right? And royalties are those ongoing payments that you will pay to the franchisor for using their name. So, understand the royalty part. Advertising fees is making sure that the brand is being seen and the brand becomes known. And we know this is where a lot of new franchisees struggle, and existing entrepreneurs and business owners is a lot of people do not want to pay for advertising. They think you're just going to open your business and people are going to find you. Not so fast. You have to make sure you are doing the work to get your name out there, to be advertising. I may have talked about this before, but we had the Chick-fil-A that opened and the lineups were there. Chipotle is the same thing. It is purely because of the advertising that has already been paid, and the pre-marketing to get the brand and to get the name out there. So that is part of the financing, and part of what you're paying for is for your name recognition, and also that you can be working on the things in the business that you're really strong at, and that you can focus on. Let the franchisor, their corporate office, some of them also have a corporate, like a team or agencies that they hire purely to make sure the franchisees are not worrying about marketing, because not everybody understands Instagram and LinkedIn and all of that. So your advertising fee is in that financing, and it's part of what the franchisor will be taking care of for you. So that's what you should know if you're an aspiring franchise owner. So one of the things that comes up in this section also is the financing of your business. How are you going to actually do that? And we're going to go into that in another episode where we just talk about financing and funding your franchise. So I hope you're taking notes and following along to date. Another thing I talked about at the National Franchise Show was that you can add your own personal touch into franchising. And this is a scary one for people. So many people look away from franchising because of this. I just had a consult with a client, and he was saying, well, I don't know if I want them to tell me everything to do, or, maybe I'll purchase in a year and then I'll sell it after I learn. Okay, hold up. When you have your own franchise, you can add your own personal touch as well. It doesn't mean that you become a robot and you lose all sense of who you are and your personality. And that's the reason why it's important for you to really do a franchise fit assessment to figure out which brand best fit your personality. There are some brands that I've worked with who they encourage creativity. They want you to bring your own personal touch and style to the brand. They want you to bring what you have to offer into the system, right? They're brands that give you that open-ended where they will provide the product, but you have to decide what culture you want to bring to your organization. You also get to decide on your hours of opening. You get to decide on quite a few things. And if we think back to, in terms of Subway, the footlong was actually created by a franchisee. A franchise owner came up with that. And it makes sense because as you are the one running and operating the business, you may find a few things that you can actually go back to head office and say, hey, this is what's working. And I've seen certain franchisor adopt principles that were developed by the franchisees, right? So the franchisor want to maintain some sort of brand consistency, of course. So you cannot buy a McDonald's and basically say, well, I don't like the color of the uniform. I want the uniform to be purple or green because that looks better on me. There are limits to everything. So maintaining the brand standard is definitely essential for franchise success, right? So you can still add some of your own personal touch and insight. You may be able to have a vision for, hey, this is what's working in my location, and then at the national meetings or regional, you bring that to them, and you will become, if you're a top performer, trust me, the franchisor want to hear from you, and they want to know what is adding to your success, what you're doing, so that you can speak to everyone else that is also in the system. So don't be afraid that you will become super robotized in everything. The general IP of the franchise is what you're investing in. And you're also investing in speed of understanding where to find products, how to get started, how to get up and going quickly. So you can take that and then making sure that you're adding some of your own personal touch and some of your own personal style, right? So yes, franchisor will want you to stick to the brand guidelines, like everybody else, and they want you to add your personal touch. They want you to be consistent and leverage some of that support that they are offering you as well. Let's move on to the next one. And this one is a really important one as well. And that would be number 6 if you are taking notes. And for number 6, we are going to talk about a franchise is not a job in the way that most people understand what a job is, right? So a franchise is not a job like your regular job. Let's get into this one because this one is where I find a lot of people struggle a bit with this one. So when you have a job, what does this really mean? It means that you get your bi-weekly paychecks. Every 2 weeks, you can be guaranteed your check is going to be there no matter what. It's up to the company to take care of you and guarantee your check, your salary. Having a job also means that some people have a great pension plan and they are excited about this pension plan, and it makes it really difficult for them to actually leave, give that job up or give the job up. Benefits, you're going to be getting your health care, vision care, dental, all of those things comes with having a job. And you may get your regular 2 to 3 week vacations per year, depending how long you have actually been with, the company, right? So these are some of the nice things about having a job. And it all comes down to one big word. It's called guarantee. And some people love the guarantee. They love the safety. They love the security. Even when at times, how safe and secure, I've seen people getting laid off, losing jobs all the time, in as much as everybody says it's safe and secure, and they are losing jobs left, right, and center. Anyways, I digress. Let's get back. So owning a franchise means you are setting your own schedule, you're being your own boss, you're getting the work-life balance, and taking time off when you want to. But here's where the real thing happens. when I work with potential clients that want to become investors into their own business, we really have to talk about what it really means to own a company and own a business, especially when that company is a startup company. As a startup business, you need to give the business time to develop, right? If you open a brand new location, which I have, no one knows you exist. No one knows you are there, even with if it's a known brand. So you really need to give the business time to get up and running. So your avenue to break even may not be exactly at 2 weeks like you have it when you're working for someone else, right? So that 2 week thing is really, really important for people to understand. When you're starting a company, you may not be paid for the first few months. Your employees and the people you're hiring may get paid before you. Did you hear me? Your employees and your contractors and the light and the phone and the utilities may all get paid before you. Sometimes there's a book that was called Leaders Eat Last. Yeah, sometimes the owners get paid last, especially in the beginning of a company. And that's why we talk about something called working capital. When you're investing in a business, make sure that you have some cushion and extra amount for the times when the business is getting started and you're not getting paid right away, right? So this is very, very important. I know there are people that I talk to and they're like, okay, I'm getting paid 60,000, I need that 60,000 right away. It may not happen in as quickly, right? Give the business time to be established, to grow, and then eventually you can outperform the 60,000 that you were making a year. How about if you're making 60,000 in a month? Right? Like that is possible in entrepreneurship. The time that it happens and the exact date, right? You can figure that out, but you have to work really hard. And I often say work as hard for yourself as you work for others, right? When some people have their job, they never miss a day. They have to start at 8. They are there early. They are in it all the time. But once they get their own business, I sometimes see people slacking, right? I'm tired today. They're supposed to post on social. They're not posting. They're supposed to follow up with clients. They're not following. So work as hard for yourself as you work for others, right? We need that discipline that you apply today will lead you to a much greater reward in the future. Build in that discipline, and that is something we have to learn as entrepreneur. So the entrepreneur life and being an entrepreneur and owner is really different than an employee. And many people need time to change their brain and grow from the employee mindset to the owner mindset. And this is where we really add value with our clients and people that are part of the Franchise Millionaire Club, Franchise Business Academy. That's why those things exist. So if you're looking to get started, make sure you find some balance, set a routine, right? Prioritize your daily tasks, stay flexible, and use any support that you may have around you. So let us now look at the final one, number 7. And in number 7 is the right franchise is waiting for you. Because if you're an aspiring franchise owner, you need to know something is out there that will match what you need, that will get you to profitability quickly, where you understand what the net profit is from the revenue, so you can find that business that is a right fit for you. The right franchise is out there for you, because with over 500, over 600 that we represent, we know we can find you something, but you have to make sure you are finding the one that is best fit for you. So how do we do that? In our company, we basically help people with the franchise fit assessment, and we take into consideration people's lifestyle, their background, their past, and all the things that they have done in order to customize a brand that is a right fit. Don't take for granted, like the thing that you're doing in your life now, you cannot apply that to a business, right? You can. If you have run a home, you have managed people, you have maybe in the past you've owned a business before, you have aspiration. Definitely know all of those things we take into consideration in helping us decide what is the next best fit for the clients and for you. So those are the seven main things that we really talked about at the National Franchise Show. And one of the I said seven things I was going to tell, but here's a bonus. There is speed in franchise ownership. I want you to know this. Speed in getting started, speed in revenue creation, that's a big one. Speed in wealth building. So with franchise ownership, you definitely get more speed and get there a lot. You can get there a lot faster, especially for people who are concerned about replacing their 2 week pay at their regular job. This is why franchising provides so much more benefits, and it's especially for this one. It is for the speed, and that's the biggest benefit in that. I really hope this episode was helpful for you. Make sure you respond and let us know which of the top seven and the bonus you preferred, which one resonated with you. And I cannot wait to help you get on the other side and become the next franchise owner. Have a great day. Bye bye.